This is Dr. Sergio Canello.
Hi.
Hi. And his lovely wife, Michaela.
I thank you, and my wife. I thank you for seeing here. And I apologize for my English. I'm from Italy, and for me English not so easy. But I think that you can understand me. If you don't understand me, you can go away. I present myself. I'm a veterinarian, an Italian veterinarian. I had a clinic for 30 years, and in that time I have chance to discover what is poisoning our cats and dogs, because our cats and dogs are full of problems, and the problem is pet food. Pet food is incredible, but pet food is poisoning cats and dogs. This is very easy to verify, because you change to raw diet, for example, or the homemade diet, most of the problem disappear. And then it's easy to connect that is the problem is pet food. Why? And in this, there are a lot of different hypotheses. Now everyone has different hypotheses. It's grain. Oh, grain. The dog derived from the wolf, and then he cannot digest the grain. Not real, because only two races they cannot digest the grain, the husky and the dingo, because this is quite difficult, but it's easy. The ancient human, they divided them in hunter, in agriculture, in the people that collect the old. The dog the wolf that get dog in with the hunter, they continue to eat meat, and then they are not able to digest the grain. But the dog that they get with the agriculture human, then they began to eat the grain, and then they are able to digest the grain. There are research about this. The dog has between 20 and 40 genes that digest the carbohydrates. The wolf only 2. And then it's not real that the dog they cannot eat grain. But because a lot of people they want grain free, our line in the United States is grain free. We have grain free. Not only a line, we have not only one line grain free, other line, but we can people can choose. No, if they trust that it's they must eat a grain free product, they can use our legend line. Or not, we have the active line that is not the main product in Europe or in Japan, in Korea, in Russia, and everywhere, not in this continent. And no problem with the ground rice. We have any problem, any problem with the ground rice. And the other thing, the meat in this moment is poisoning cats and dogs. Meat deriving from intensive farming, not meat the problem, because the dogs are based in carnivore now. But the problem is what is into the meat, and especially into the bones of the animals. In this moment are the bones that are poisoning cats and dogs. The bones of the animals. Why? The dog were used to eat bones without any problem, and then now it's the same, but it depends of the derivation of the bones. If are from intensive farming, they are contaminated. If the bones are clean from animal free range, you don't have any problem. But usually you know that if you give the rest of the remainder of the grill to the dog, you can see that in a few hours appear or tearing, or shaking ear, or itch in the neck, or scratching in this area, or licking paw, or searching grass, or vomiting on empty stomach, or horrible flatulence, or diarrhea. This is very common, because the body must fight this toxin that they find in the bones. in the bones. The bones are poisoning cats and dogs. And we know, perfectly know, we are sure 100% that what is contaminating the bones are oxytetracycline. Oxytetracycline is a large use antibiotic in chicken, turkey, especially chicken, turkey. And this antibiotics is legally used, large used but legally. And it's not toxic for the animal. The chicken, turkey, they don't have any problem with the oxytetracycline. These antibiotics are used to avoid the pathologies linked to intensive farming. When you collect too many animals in a narrow space, you need the antibiotics, because if you don't use the antibiotics, you have large pathologies and you can kill all the animals. And then the problem is that these antibiotics get toxic when go in the bones of the animals. This is an unexpectable change that we discovered. We have a lot of research about this, because we have published more than 25 research in the last 2 years with 8 different universities, are all at disposition for you. You can read everything in very important and prestigious scientific journal. Not only my speech, because all I tell you, it's completely real. I don't tell lies. I hate to exaggerate, because also this really you will see that changing the food change everything, but it's normal. Hippocrates said, make that the food would be the first medicine. Now it's the first poison. Now we are poisoning all that we had all over in the world. The human is destroying everything. And we know that the food intolerance now are very common. Everyone has different food that they cannot eat. In the past, food intolerance, there weren't food intolerance. Now it's food intolerance, food allergies. In the past, you get allergic only about 10 years old. Now you can get allergic in 20 years, 40 years, 60 years, the last day of the life, every time. This is because we collect, and then explode the problem, burn all. The body has 2 ways to fight this toxin, because the body can fight something wrong in 2 ways. One is to eliminate this toxin, eliminate with tearing, with discharge of the ear, with the vomit on empty stomach, or itch in the neck, or scratching in the lumbar region, or flatulence, or diarrhea. All are the way to eliminate the toxin. It's the direct way to eliminate the toxins. And the other way is the inflammatory process. When we study medicine, we study that the inflammatory process is not pathologies, it's healing process. It's the way for the body to eliminate the toxin, something wrong. No? It's for me, it's the incinerator for your town. You have garbages, you have to put in incinerator and to burn them. This is the inflammatory process. And if you produce or introduce garbages daily, the inflammatory process must be chronic. And then this inflammatory process could appear everywhere. Could appear, it depends on the individual sensibility, could appear in the eyes, could appear in the ear, could appear in the mouth, in the skin, in the bladder, in the kidney, in the bowels, everywhere. No one organ can be free from this problem. But I think that's very logic. I don't think that I can surprise you, because are very logic. I tell that the food is the same as the gas of the car. If the gas is complete and clean, the car goes. If not, it doesn't go. And we are full of gas, very, very incomplete and polluted. Go. After more than 20 years in the past, I decided to, because I had a clinic, and this clinic, my work was to cure the dog and cats with food, because food was the problem, food is the solution. With the medicine, we cannot solve the problem, because if you don't take away the cause, you cannot win the consequence. This is the reason, because when you have, for example, chronic otitis, chronic infection, you cannot solve with the medicine. It's impossible, because if the cause is the food, you have to take away what causes the inflammatory process, and inflammatory process disappears spontaneously. No toxin, no inflammation. Diarrhea is the way to eliminate immediately now the toxin. You take away the toxin from the food, you see the diarrhea disappear in a few days, often in 1 day, 2 days. But you don't block the diarrhea. You take away the cause that provoked the diarrhea. And this is the same in the vomit on empty stomach. There are a lot of the dog and cats that they vomit during the night, only liquid. This is the way to eliminate the toxin. You change the food, the vomit disappears. In 2 days, disappear the vomit. And nobody knows this, because we fight, my colleague everywhere in the world, they fight with the medicine, but you cannot solve the problem if you don't take away the cause. And I have a chance to discover what is the real cause, this oxytetracycline, and we have also in vitro studies, because also not only scientific research about the problem in the apparatus, the different apparatus, the eyes apparatus, mouth apparatus, ear, kidney, bladder, bowel, everywhere, but also to demonstrate that this toxin, you can see the cells that destroy the cells, this toxin. Putting in contact the bones contaminated with this toxin, you see that the cells died. And the cells died, and you can have also genes damages and epigenetic damages. And this it means that also the next generation could born ill. Unfortunately, it is this. And then I decided in my clinic, my work was using ground rice, boiled cod, veggie, and fruit. Only this. And in that period, I tell you about between the middle of the 17th and the middle of the 19th, there were really lot of more than now problem. For example, ear infection were terrible. There were a lot of surgery to cut, to take away the duct, the auricular duct. In my clinic, I never used the surgery, because with the food, you see that the problem disappears spontaneously. It seems strange for you, this.
Yeah. I mean, it's you always think that if there's a problem, it's like, cut it out. If they have tumors, or if dogs have cancer, that is what they do. They do it for humans, so of course you want to do it for dogs as well.
Yes. For example, cancer, there are a lot of, now is full of cancer also in the dogs and cats. Why? The problem is that all all that can provoke inflammatory process, and if something that provoke inflammatory process is chronic, chronic inflammation is the fuel for the cancer. And because of this toxin, this oxytetracycline, is a residues of the oxytetracycline, is all over because it's in the traditional, conventional pet food, chicken meal is everywhere. The problem is chicken meal, but it's not allergy. It's not allergy. We think that the dog is allergic, but not real. It's because in the chicken, in the bones of the chicken, there is this toxin. This is the reason, because you can see that with some bones you don't have any problem. For example, with the raw diet, you see that the dog gets better, but you don't have stable situation. You have that usually you go up and down, up and down, up and down. And the reason is when the dog eats the bones that are contaminated. You don't know when they are contaminated. You don't know. No one. No. Because if there are from intensive farming, it's very easy that they contain this toxin. And then you can judge in a few hours if one treats, one snack, one wet food, one dry food, everything, one food from the table is contain this toxin, because in 2 hours appear the reaction. The reaction could appear as a tearing, or a shaking ear, or a itching, scratching, leaking paw, flatulence, diarrhea, all I told you. It's very simple. At the end,
I'm sorry, but just to clarify, so if I'm feeding my dog food basically all the time, and I can go months, years even, with never having a bad day, and then all of a sudden one day, for like no known reason, the dog has got diarrhea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then but you say it's because
Yes.
sometimes even if I'm going to the same farm
Yes,
to buy food,
yes.
that sometimes it can be.
Yes, can be this because suddenly, sometimes they can use antibiotic only for 5 days, 6 days, because they have acute problem in their farm, and they use antibiotic, and then this go in the bones, and then you have or in the meat, especially in the skin. The problem are in the skin, in the fat, and the bones. In the meat is very few, the quantity, very few. This is the reason, because with the raw food you don't have problem with the meat. The meat is not uncontaminated, no problem with the meat.
Can vegetables be contaminated?
No. In my experience, no, not at all.
Can fat?
Fat, yes.
So how about if those chickens have eggs? Are the eggs contaminated as well?
Also can be contaminated, yes. Yes.
Whoa.
The problem is that the sanitary authority, they check the meat, they check the liver, the kidney, they check the eggs, they check the honey, they check but the problem is that the level of this the toxicity is so high that is less than 5 times what is allowed from the law allowed. Do you understand? The level that the sanitary authority,
Right, the FDA allows, right,
yes,
a level.
Yes, it's 100. But with 20 parts, you have big problem. Because the level is theoric, because a level, nobody cannot judge the right level of the residues. No one. Because you have to check lot of people, they eat with the same quantity. The level is for acute intoxication, but not for chronic intoxication. The problem is when you eat every time, every day, the same food contaminated. But this toxin is so toxic that you see immediately the reaction. Immediately, 2 hours, 3 hours, immediately. 3 symptoms appears in an amazing way. One is the itch in the neck, in the lumbar region, this scratching in this region. And the other is the chronic diarrhea. Chronic diarrhea could disappear in 1 or 2 days, even if this chronic diarrhea is from 1 year, 5 years, 7 years. But it's no miracle. No toxin, the diarrhea disappears, because the diarrhea is the way to eliminate the toxin. No toxin, no diarrhea. It's amazing, but are not the food a miracle. It's only that you allow the nature to work normally. No reaction, because no problem. No problem, no reaction. And all that we have, every symptoms that we have to respect the symptoms, because they are tools from the body to fight. When we block the fever, block the cough, when we block the inflammatory process, when we block the diarrhea, when we block the vomit, is not correct, because we block the way from the body to eliminate, to fight the toxin. Of the pathology, the symptoms are the defense from the body, and we study this during the university. We study that the inflammatory process is healing process, that the fever is a defense system, the cough is the defense system, the diarrhea is defense system, the vomit is defense system. But finishing the university, all doctor, they fight the symptoms. It's wrong to fight the symptoms. If you need, for example, you have diarrhea, you have an important meeting, you can use an antidiarrheal, but you're aware about this. You understand that you choose to use. I don't know, it's clear.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
But if you,
Well, it's like taking anything for pain or anything, you're choosing to block the natural course of saying something's wrong.
It depends. It depends. For me, it depends of the reaction of the body. If you are not, if you see that the body really is very strong involved, you can also use the medicine.
Mhm.
But now it's impossible to fight this, because there are the protocols. Now you cannot, the doctor, they cannot avoid to use the protocols. You have fever more than 38, you have to use it is not wrong, because if you want to sterilize the water, you switch on, and you have to reach 100 degrees, I don't know in Fahrenheit, no? But you don't switch off when you are less than the temperature, because you don't destroy anything. And the fever is, the level of the fever is to destroy the germs. It's difficult to accept. I think someone or some other not, but it's so. And then I decided to found a company to industrialize a good imitation of the pet food, of the food. Sorry, the raw food. No, I think that this is the best imitation of the raw food, because if someone asks, is better raw food or the kibble? Raw food is better. It's normal. The kibble are not in the trees, are not in the grass. The kibble are technical solution, no, to get easy the life of the owner, especially, no. But it's possible to make really a good pet food. Not only this, because of we use the plant extract, with the medicinal plant extract. In the same time, we use something that collects all the free radicals, all the contaminants that we collect with every food, because no one food is clean. No one. We use wild-caught anchovies, for example. Wild-caught anchovies is beautiful protein, because they live in surface water, they don't eat other fishes, and then don't collect heavy metal, and then they are very beautiful protein and rich in omega-3. But the ocean are polluted. You cannot find something that is really clean. But you have to choose. We defined the scale, no, of the toxicity, and then we use the less polluted, the less dangerous raw material, and the results are amazing because really you change the life of the dog and the cats, and you have stability, because this is the most important thing. Not a 1 month good and 10 days wrong. You have stability. And another thing important, in 23 years now that I have a clinic, the company, I saw lot of generation. The puppy get adult, the adult get older, and they live very good. I put my face that really it's a good gas with the car. And honestly, I think there are no other experts in the food-related pathologies, because it's a new field of the science. And also the nutritionists, they don't know this. Absolutely, they don't know. They don't study this. We are. I'm not scientist. I'm a good clinic. I'm not scientist. And the company, I founded the company also for having in our research and development department with the scientists that can complete scientifically my knowledge, my clinic knowledge. Cool. We are present in more than 20 countries. We have two years and a half. Now we have 2 facilities in Iceland. It took more than 15 years to reach this, because Icelandic people are very strict. They don't want foreign people. But for me it was important because Iceland to reach the less polluted, the purest raw material, to be as far as possible from pollution, the problem. And this is the reason because, for example, we have deer from New Zealand. New Zealand is very far from pollution. Alaska is very far from pollution. Canada, so enough the distance. The way is to be far from pollution and to find the raw material from these countries. This is the way. With clean raw material, you don't have any problem with the raw food and with the pet food. It's the only way. Go. The scenes of the crime.
Doctor,
Sorry.
can you speak a little bit louder?
Sorry.
Più forte, per favore.
Sorry. Okay. Two problems. My English and my loud. Okay. And I just told you that in the last 50 years, the pathologies grow in an amazing way, and food-related pathologies are everywhere. This is a good example. The continuous use of chemicals and machine to produce. This is the problem because you must use medicine and the chemical. You must. And this is amazing, no? And in USA, 4 companies produce 81% of cow, and the sheep with 57. The pigs, yes, and 50% of chicken. And then it's possible. I change from a company to the other, but at the end you are always in the same situation. Intensive farming, for example, the chicken, you can grow a chicken in 35 days. 35 days. 25 years ago, 65 days, and less
Wow.
weight,
That's
less
gross.
weight. Now it's incredible. Yes, 55. And in Bulgaria, in Europe, they use also the hormones, and they have the chicken in 28 days. 28 days. Go.
Go.
I just explained that all that is used for the veggie, for the fruit, for the meat from the fish and farmed fish remain in the food, and then provoke or allergies or food intolerance. If you go in a website and you search food intolerance, really there are really rare information about it. It's a new problem because the science think that all allergies is not real. They think that the allergies are 90% and the food intolerance 10%. It's the reverse. 90% are food intolerance and 10% are allergies. In dog and cats. In human it's not so because we have a lot of allergies. But in dog and cats they have food intolerance. Our dog and cats, our company, our companion are full of problems. But our food intolerance, this is very good because food intolerance you can solve very, very quick. If you have allergies, you cannot solve in 1 week or 5 days. It's impossible. This is the reason because you can solve the problem, because they are not allergies. They are the reaction from the body to fight, to eliminate the toxin. Good. Food intolerance and food allergy are similar, and often it could be confused. But the only way is to try. You change the food, you see immediately if it's allergy or food intolerance. Right. You see, I don't know, I think you see, it's very difficult that you see. Yes, but at the end is the 90% of the adverse food reaction are intolerance, food intolerance. And I founded my company for fighting food intolerance. We fight also the allergies because people are full, for example, environmental allergens, no? But it's not possible. It's not. There is these allergies, but it's absurd allergy because it's impossible to be allergic to all that is around of you. It's the immune system that is out of order. But with the food we can, the plant extract, we can balance the immune system. It needs about 1 month, 2 months, but you have to gradually, if there is allergy, you see also that gradually, but in 1 month or 2 months, you can see the disappearing of the problem.
In only one or two months?
Yes, yes. You have to see one day, we see gradually disappearing of the problem.
That makes sense. For everybody here that had success with it, it was usually like 1 to 2 months, wasn't it?
With the food?
Yeah.
Quicker.
With Riley, it was within the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
It was real quick. Yeah.
Yes.
2 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I want to spread to spread this concept, no miracle, because the only that can get miracle is nature, not our nature. Nature is beautiful. And this is the enemy number one, is oxytetracycline, not oxytetracycline, but the residues of oxytetracycline, because oxytetracycline is not dangerous. Get dangerous and toxin when go in the bones and link it to calcium. And there are 60 years that this antibiotics are used in intensive farming without any problem for the animal, any problem. And also human, they can use oxytetracycline without any problem. The problem could be for the cannibals. That's when they eat other human, they eat this toxin. And the cannibal is full of itching the neck and
Diarrhea.
diarrhea.
Cannibalism causes diarrhea, there you go.
Yes, our power is to have scientists in my company, no? Because really I'm only I'm not scientist, I'm clinic, but I think that to be a good clinic. Okay, yes, but we just the reaction more common are expulsive, vomit, diarrhea, secretion, excretion, inflammatory process. Yes, and we know, no, if you give daily the food contaminated, you have chronic problem. For example, chronic otitis it's unsolvable because my colleague, they use antibiotic and inflammatory, and you cannot solve the problem. You have to take away the cause. If you block with the shot, you block the problem, but you cannot solve the problem. This is not only for ear, but every organ. If you have chronic inflammatory process, you have to take away the cause. And fortunately, this is the most important cause of about 80% of the problem that the dog and cats they have nowadays is only one thing. It seems impossible, but it's so. One thing. It's easy to verify because you can solve more than 80% of the problem that the dog and cats they have with one diet. That the first is avoiding to use intensive farming and meat meal that contain bone meal. Okay.
So dog foods that have fresh meat are less likely to have oxytetracycline than something that uses meat meal?
The problem is meat meal, not fresh meat. Fresh meat is good.
But Bravo has bones in it, so if there, like, say, if Bravo had like some, because I noticed with Gabe, if there are certain times when he has chicken and turkey from Bravo, he's more itchy.
That's a great that's a really good
So
observation.
is it
We had discussed
because-
that earlier. Dogs that are on a raw diet,
Yes.
that every now and then, and hers is one that every now and then,
Yes.
using the same brand,
Yes,
Bravo, that we like Bravo.
yes, yes,
Then that every once in a while he gets a reaction.
yes, yes.
And you're saying that is because
Of the bones.
yes,
of the-
bones.
because
The bones.
every now and then she's going to get, and he also said earlier it was more likely to happen with chicken. But they can't guarantee every time that the meat and the bone is going to be oxytetracycline free.
Yes.
Because you have to treat whatever happens.
Yeah, true, yes.
Okay.
Hotspot is very easy. What provokes the hotspot. Hotspot is when the dog has particular sensibility in this form of the reaction, no, very very strong. But you can see that it is especially with the food from the table or from the treats. You can judge every food, dry, wet, snack, and all the food, because you can try to give to the dog, and if it's clean, no problem. If it's contaminated, in 3 hours appear the reaction. 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. You see, it's so easy to check this. Very, very easy. It seems impossible that me, I'm only a veterinarian, no, but I discovered it that it is under our eyes. It's there. This is impressive because was in February, 26th of February, 1 of the April. This is a huge difference. Huge difference. This is leishmaniasis. Leishmania is very strong pathologies in the south of the world. And then you see that it's an autoimmune problem, but with our food, the dog can live perfectly with the pathology, because there is parasitic, there is from the little, I don't know in English, the little flea, no, not fleas, the little flea that provoke
Mites?
this.
Is
What?
it called a mite?
Mite.
A mite
Ticks.
is like a flea, only it's smaller.
Yes, the dog, they die with these pathologies, but they are not the parasite. The parasite are never the cause of the die. For example, the germs that live in the ear are not the cause of the inflammation, the infection in the ear. They grow, they improve because you have inflammation, and then the bacteria, the population bacteria that live in the ear, they grow. But you cannot solve it. You can fight the malassezia, for example, in the ears, but you cannot solve the problem. You have to take away the cause. This is the same in the bowel with the Escherichia coli, on the skin with the Streptococcus, the Staphylococcus. They are never the cause of the problem. Never, never, never. Another with the leishmanias.
Oh, wow.
It's impressive. Someone in Italy in the past, oh, this is Photoshop. We don't use a Photoshop. No, we don't need to use Photoshop. I tell you that in some cases we reduce the dramaticity of the picture, because they don't trust. It seems impossible. And then it's better not to tell all that can solve, yes, but to be more prudent. Yes. Why in Iceland we have 2 facilities for wet and for snacks, from treats and snacks, because you know that you have to connect all the food, no? The dry, the wet, and the snack. Because if you use the good dry food, but you use wet food and snack that are contaminated, you don't find the solution. It's impossible to find the solution. And this is the reason, because we went so far in Iceland. Really was very difficult, but it's not marketing solution. It's because it's so hard to work in Iceland, that it only because we know that is the real way to offer a complete line, dry, wet, and snack. A diet, I think that all the products are balanced. This is normal. The plant extract is very important, because we discovered in which way the plants work in the immune system. We have published this. You know that all the research you will see, you can check everything. And we discovered in which cells line they work the plants. It's amazing because they improve the immune system if it's too low and reduce the immune system if it's too high. Because now the immune system usually is too high. It's crazy. This is the reason for the allergies, the reason for the autoimmune problem. Autoimmune problem is absurd because the body fight itself. It's incredible, and only human can provoke this because in nature there isn't this autoimmune problem. Only when it's the human that work. Unfortunately, we make more than 5,000 checking in our product, but I'm honest, it's not enough. It's not enough because there are 12,000 contaminants. They are discovered. 20,000 until now. Till now, it's impossible. It's impossible to check everything. You can reduce as soon as good as possible, but it's impossible to guarantee the health. It's impossible. But we are near. Legend is as a solution to simplify, because in Europe we have this active line that we have different reference, different specific for the eyes, specific for the ear, specific for the mouth, specific for the skin, for the bladder, for the kidney, specific for the pancreas. Every organ has a specific for the gonads, the reproduction. But at the end, the problem, most important problem, are in the skin and the bowels. About 80% of the problem in dog and cats are in the skin and the bowels. And then we have highlight this problem because to be as more simple as possible. Not farming, not farmed. I just tell you about this. Yeah, this is very important to have the balance between omega-3 and omega-6 between 1:1 and 1:4. The nature teach us about the level of the omega-3. For example, in the grass is full of omega-3, especially in the spring, because the herbivores, they eat the grass, and that is the season that they get in pregnancy, no? And then they need more omega-3, and then this way the grass are full of omega-3. And there is the reason, because the dogs, they search grass now, because in the pet food there is not enough omega-3.
I thought it was enzymes I thought it was the enzymes that they were trying to get in the grass. But it's omega-3s?
It's omega-3 the problem. It's omega-3 because with the right food, they don't eat the grass. They eat only grass when they are ill. You see the difference because they search grass. Because
Well, they do. They search, but mine's very particular about the grass that he'll eat.
Yeah.
It's very. He smells it.
Yes, but when they eat the long grass,
Right.
they eat to stimulate the stomach. But if they eat the grass, it depends. If they eat grass, a lot of grass, because they search the omega-3. They search omega-3. And this lack of omega-3 provoke a lot of problems in the dog and cats, especially in the dogs. For example, dogs are full of broken cruciatus, broken collateral ligaments, broken meniscus, hernia, discus hernia, destruction. Why? Because if the body has the right quantity of omega-3 get elastic the cells. Omega-6 get hard the cells, and because of the pet food is unbalanced in omega-6, You have that all that must be elastic is not elastic, and then if you force them, you broke them. You broke the meniscus. You broke also for us, also for us.
Right.
The same is for us.
And canola oil has a lot of omega-6, correct?
Yes.
And a lot of pet food companies put canola oil and everything that's in all the cookies and biscuits
Yes.
and
Another characteristic of omega-6 that they get, they improve the cells, improve all the cells population, especially the fat cells. And then when we eat too many omega-6, we get fat. We get fat. Using a big quantity of omega-3, we get leaner. Myself, in the past, I tried this, not to get leaner, but I lose 5 kilos, 5 kilos, then...
about 12,
12
about 12 pounds.
Yes, and without making any diet, only this. And honestly, I think it's good for all to daily use fish oil, daily. 1, 2, or 3 grams, it depends of the weight. It's very,
On
because
top of what's in the dog food?
yes, we
Yeah, but
use.
should we use more than what's just in the
They
dog?
say it into the pot.
Oh, okay.
It's complete. It's complete. It's complete.
That was one of our questions.
Right.
And for example, if you split a puppy group with a normal pet food, also in the big company in the hour, you think that our they jump as the kangaroo, but it's normal. They don't jump as kangaroo. They jump normally, and the other are hard. The same concept is the gas. The gas must be complete and clean. Complete and clean. The omega-3, omega-6 are term, and that you must have the omega-3 and omega-6. You cannot synthesize the omega-3 and omega-6. You have to introduce with the food. If you don't have the right quantity, you have problem. It's normal. For example, I had in the past the problem in the
Potato cup.
yes. I wasn't able to go over this way with omega-3. The doctor said me, "What can I do about this?" Nothing. You have to stay so. But I told the omega-3 not for this. I told because I read a very, very important book that is anti-cancer. Anti-cancer is a French doctor that wrote this book that is beautiful. I suggest to you to find because it's very well known. I can give the name of this because in this book I learned a lot of things that I applied in my formula. About omega-3 and omega-6, honestly, I read this in this book, and I learned it was very important because all change. And also, I don't have proof about this, but I'm sure that the female, our women, they have big problem to in parturition because if you don't have the omega-3, enough omega-3, you don't have the way to have a peristalsis in the uterus, to relax the cervix, and to get di nuovo com'era il
In italiano, come si dice?
il bacino, l'osso grande, tutto
The pelvis.
the
Pelvis?
The pelvis, you have to relax the nature relax the pelvis to let the fetus to go out, no?
Mm-hmm.
But if you are full of omega-6, you don't have this. In the female dogs, you see change the diet, change with the right diet, and they are able to to have parturition, normal parturition without problem, very fast, not long and slow. But it's normal because in something wrong, something lack in the food, you have the problem. Yes, omega-3 fight the inflammation. It's important in any case to take away the cause, because you can fight, but it's important to take away the cause. Keeping contract, keeping, just a moment, come back.
I don't know how to go back there.
Keeping control the growth of the cells, improve elasticity in skin, muscle, internal organs, and okay. Go. Go. We use the plant extract. The problem is that you can destroy everything with the extrusion, no? The heat of to extrude the kibble. But we have patent because we found the technical to use cold pressed tablet that they don't go in heat. We join the cold pressed tablet with the kibble, and this way we are sure that they work perfectly. We know that, for example, the picky dogs or the cats, they have some difficult to eat and they can divide the kibble from the tablets. In the past I saw, especially the cats, that one per one to divide, I eat this, that's not. But if you use with the dry food, the wet food, you have two chances. One is that using only dry food is no good. Also with our food, because dry food is too dry. All the dry food is too dry. 80 or 90% is dry. And the dog and cats, they don't drink enough to balance, to compensate the quantity of the liquid that they need. And this provoke that the blood get too thick, and this damages the kidney. And I'm sure that there is the reason, because most of the dog and cats at 8 years old, they are with the problem in the kidney.
That's cats and dogs?
Yes.
Can you just add water to their food, or?
Yes, you can. But I think that the wet food is very full of water.
Right.
Because water, the wet food, honestly, is most of the wet food is water, because 80% or 70% is water.
Well, so is raw food as well. It's mostly water.
Yes. Our body is 70% is water. It's strange, but 70% is water. And then this to explain you that it's not for marketing that we use plant extract. We use plant extract because we have this scientists in our company that know in beautiful way the plants, and this improve the formula about the 40% of the base of the formula. The fish formula with the plants is amazing really. And was surprising also for us, because the results were better than we imagined. Better. Heart-shaped, there are the tablets. Another thing that the plant, they work capture. They capture the free radicals. No, free radicals are the garbage in the body. No, the garbage. The body is not able to split all the chemical substances, and it provoke this free radical that destroy the organism gradually. And the plant can capture these free radicals. the antioxidant, no, the power of the plants. About the work in the immune system, just I told you. Yes, all is in-house production, never outsourced. We want to check everything. This is a part because we cannot check completely the raw material. It's impossible. It's impossible. But what is real that the level of the health of the dog and cats is better than the other food, every other food, and stable. Stable. Somewhere in the past we had the problem because we had some contamination that we cannot identify. No, this is real. 3 years ago and 10 years ago we had the problem. But it's impossible to avoid this. It's impossible. But the level, I think that there are no other food that can guarantee what we can guarantee. Sorry. It's slow because my English.
We recently adopted a little dog who had some pretty bad behavior. And we came down, talked to Mel, and she recommended Forzatat.
Yes.
Behavior.
Yes.
We saw a difference pretty fast. Now, is that from the change of food, or is it from the herbs that are added, or
It's-
is it both?
Yes, behavioral was another surprising for us success, no? Because I thought in the past, if this toxin can hit everywhere, can hit also the behavioral, because I noticed that the dog changed in amazing way 40 years ago. And then why also the behavioral? Because we think that the problem are from the lifestyle, no? Although the owner that are angry, the owner that don't no movement, no the noise of the life, but the problem, the dog are full of anxious problem. Lot of dogs, they are unpredictable, impulsive, they have fear of the thunderstorm, they bark every time without any reason, they have fear of the fireworks, or they lick everywhere, everything, everyone, they incredible. They
Separation anxiety.
Separation anxiety is very common, and we think that is normal, but it's not normal. In the past, the dog was able to manage the anxious. In 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, they was able to manage to be calm. The first day you left alone the dog in the house. Wah, 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 wah. The second, wah, wah. The third, nothing. Now the third, wah, wah. The second, the third destroy everything. But the dog are not able to manage the anxious. And then we studied this. It's possible that the neurotransmitter, they are damaged by this toxin. We have to study that demonstrate that all the neurotransmitters, the hormones that balance the behavior are damaged by the food, the pet food. The research published at the beginning of this year was 2, and the dog with the behavioral problem were checked about their neurotransmitter. And then we discovered that serotonin, dopamine, endorphin, cortisol, adrenaline are all out of range. All. You change the diet, in 1 week to change everything. You check it again, you check that all this range are normal.
Is that from inflammation that causes the neurotransmitters to all freak out? Is that inflammation from oxytetracycline that is the problem?
The problem is
the
damage,
behavior?
yes, yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of questions here.
Sorry.
Sorry, this is a biggie.
You tell me.
Real quick, you mentioned chicken and the bones being a problematic source, which I read all my ingredients and make sure that there's no chicken whatsoever, because my dog does have an intolerance to it that I know of every time I give it to her, or it happens by accident. But are there other proteins like poultry, like duck and turkey? Do they have similar problems with the bones that chicken does? What proteins
The
are
protein, the clean protein are the protein from animal not intensive, not from intensive farming. For example, it's good deer, it's good kangaroo, it's good ostrich. Extensive farming is no problem because it's intensive farming the problem.
Right.
Extensive farming you don't have problem because
makes
they are not so collect in a very narrow space. The problem is the narrow space because they must use antibiotic. This is the reason. But it's only one antibiotic the problem, only one. But the problem is that it's very cheap, the cheapest in the market. It costs less than 3 times the other antibiotic.
Right.
And then
Yeah, it's much cheaper.
and then they use this because nobody know that get toxic. Because I'm sure that if they know that it's toxic, I think that they change. I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Another question?
I was just curious what your position was about vaccines, because don't they cause the inflammatory process, especially in the neurotransmitters, which cause rabiesms, which mimic symptoms of rabies, which include sensitivity to light, aggressive behavior. All the things we talked about are not just due to the foods, but the vaccines, the toxic heart guard, the front line, the bombardment of chemicals that are given, the NSAIDs, the steroids, everything that the conventional vets are doing to the pets, which are damaging them, their immune system, their autoimmune disease. So you can give them the best diet. You bring your vets routinely for repeated vaccinations, you're going to damage your pet. True or not?
My thought is this. It's so clear that changing only this, all get more than 80% get normal, no? And then the rule of the other thing, it's forced, not so high. The vaccine, it's good. It's sure that, for example, I'm veterinarian, but I stopped to use the vaccine because in the past, every year, vaccine. But if changing in looking that the pet owner that they didn't make the vaccine 1 year, 2 years, I saw them after 5 years, one and 10 people, 100 people that they no vaccine, no problem, and then in my clinic I used the vaccine only in the first year when they were young.
You don't vaccinate after the first year?
Yes, usually not. And really, this is the reason because I discovered what I discovered, because the homeopathy learn what is the real tools of the body. This is difficult now to explain, but really, in my life, I used the antibiotic, the anti-inflammatory, the acupuncture, the homeopathy. It depends of what is the problem. To use what was the best tools to solve the problem. For me, it's not theory. For me, it's important to use what can help you to solve the problem. And it's different. For example, homeopathy is incredible, but it's better in the chronic problem than in acute problem. In acute problem, you must use often the antibiotic. But in chronic problem, the antibiotic they are needless to make anything in chronic problem. accept some situation, but it's difficult. An antibiotic is useful in 1 week. If work in 1 week, it's good. If you need 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's not the antibiotic that is working.
But doesn't it kill your gut flora, which you need your gut flora for health? So your antibiotic indiscriminately kills all your good gut flora. So now you've gone reverse and you have to start back from scratch to build up the good gut flora so the body can fight the disease.
Yes, the microbiota now is the first argument in this, no argument, the first in study, no, because it's the second brain, no, the second brain of the body. It's incredible the power of it's incredible, complicated. We don't know nothing. When we study, we understand that we don't know nothing.
Question. So, what if your dog has multiple symptoms? So, our dog has like intestinal issues, diarrhea. He's just a puppy, but he also still has itchy skin and Stop it. He does not have behavioral.
He's a puppy.
But he's a puppy.
Yeah, exactly.
But what would you suggest for a dog that has multiple symptoms?
Yes, well, for me it's simple. For example, in my opinion, the quantity of the protein, for example, to get more protein when the dog is puppy, for me is not normal. No, it's not useful because in the nature, the puppy of the animal, they eat the same instead of the period they are with the milk of the mother, they eat the same quantity of protein.
Right.
And then the behavioral is you will see the difference in behavior in the bowel and in the skin.
Do you have a food that you would suggest that works? What do we use now?
Or would you do like a half and half?
Yeah, would you
Maybe
do like a half and half? Or we use
We're using
the
digestive.
digestive one right now, and it
Legend.
works wonders. It's awesome. But we do see some little ticks. Like he is still itchy now and then, and he might have some separation anxiety. I don't think so. But yeah.
Che devono
Sì,
fare
ho
un
capito.
mix tra
Sì, ho capito.
Yeah.
Ho capito. Pay attention to the snack and treats. Do you use snack and treats? No.
Only yours. We actually eliminated all treats. We only do your dry food and your treats. We should add wet food now that you've mentioned it. But in fruit, that's it.
Fruit is not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Try only with the behavioral. Or you see, in a few days you see that it works. If it don't work, you can mix. No problem.
Okay.
You can mix.
Okay. I just didn't. Yeah.
Do you do any supplementations at all?
We give him the colon. There's colon health herbal herbs that we give him as well. And I don't know. He's a white dog, stark white. He has like no fur, so he like has pink skin from the sun. So everything really affects him. So he, we even have to put sunscreen on him. I know it's bizarre, but he gets burnt. It's out of this world. But
Is he a human? Yeah, this is for dogs.
he is my human. Yes, he's my human.
This is my sister Caitlin.
Yeah. But we do use herbal. Yeah, we do notice too that he's hungry a lot more now too. When we first got him, he wouldn't eat at all. We brought him to the vet many times. He's been a very expensive dog. And then we came and we switched to your food, and he wants to eat it constantly. He's begging for food.
That's part of our plan.
I don't. So now are we?
It's
I don't want to overfeed him, but I can't look at his, puppy eyes and be like, we can't give you food. So
Honestly, I think that if it's pink, is not for the sun. It's not for the sun because all the animal that nobody have to the tan, no? For example, the same as nobody brush in the wild animal brush the teeth. No one wash the clothes, no? Because nature has all that is enough. I don't think that this is the sun. I don't think absolutely. You love your dog, and then you want to make maximum. But really, sometimes it's not a good idea to take too much. This is to love your dog. To love your dog, you have to be not so immanent. I don't know if there is
Like a helicopter.
helicopter. Try. A little bit, not gradually.
We just want him to feel good, and he hasn't ever until we put him on your food, and now he's full of life and energy and love.
So see, and that's what happens. Now her puppy feels good, is acting normal, and now she wants to make him calmer because of her brother. Right, he's acting like a puppy. That's what it is. I'm sorry, we can continue on. We have another 10 minutes.
Okay, get to go. We are the first European pet food that be approved by USDA. There are in Iceland, in Reykjavik, in Padova in Italy.
We need to go.
This is interesting.
Is
That
it?
Blomberg this year said what are the healthiest country in the world. First Italy, second Iceland. USA
34. 34.
We are proud because we have our facilities in Iceland and in Italy. It's not for chance because we have these facilities. Go.
We didn't edit that.
Okay. Finito? No. From active line, yes. This is the active line was our first line in Europe. No, divided from in various several different reference. In USA, this was created for USA market. This is better when the symptoms, the pathologies are very strong, no? When with legend when they are medium strong, not so strong. You have to change in active line when the problem is very hard. We can solve also autoimmune problem. It's incredible, but this toxin provoke also autoimmune problem. And then when to take away this toxin, the autoimmune problem come back in normal situation. Okay? This is a patent for heating, to prevent heating. In the legend we have microcapsules that are very little capsules in the food that protect from the heat the herbal. The herbal. Skin. I just in skin problem, the skin problem I just tell you, but itching, scratching, and dandruff, dullness of coat, bad smelling of coat, losing hair all the year, and also tearing, and this is you prevent hot spot, obviously, redness, and dermatitis, all that involved the skin. There are the the snack from Iceland. Really you can use because the dog they like very much. It is very good. We use you can see that we use also pork and chicken, but because they are from Iceland. In Iceland the temperature is very low, and then this allow that there are not the pathologies that are in other countries, and that's an oxytetracycline. This is wet food sample, always from Iceland. It's beautiful product, also wet food. Just volevo mettere una 5 minutes. We have to go away.
No, we're good. We just we're ready to do some questions and answers if it's all right with you, Doctor.
Yes.
Great. And I don't know if anybody wants to take a moment to stand up. Come over and eat a cookie, okay? And then we can ask questions. And Christine, thank you so much for your arms have got to be like dying on the Facebook Live. So I think at this point, thank you all. And let's take the opportunity to take advantage of Dr. Canello and ask him questions. Yes,
I put my face that all I tell you is real. I don't exaggerate, never. I never exaggerate in my life because I hate exaggerate. It's strange, but all is real.
My big coming here today was to thank you.
Thank you to you.
No, thank you know, so you're welcome. But thank you.
And I give her, and it takes a while, but I started to get her into her crate, I started to give her that.